I've been speaking to a lot of people lately, and I keep hearing the same thing. People say they feel unsafe, they feel scared, they feel that the world has become more and more dangerous, and they never felt so scared in their lives. So the question I want to ask: Are these feelings rational, or are we all caught up in a media frenzy, fear mongering, doom and gloom news cycle? The answer may surprise you, but first let me say something important. Danger is not the same for everyone. Say, for example, you have two children, two boys. One is well built, very sociable, smart, he's got all the skills in all the social skills in the world, and the other one is quite timid, is not that clever, and hasn't got the required social skills. They both go to the same school. First boy go to school, everything is great, he makes lots of friends, he always feels safe, there are no issues at all. Second kid go to school, and the bullies picked on him straight away. For him, the school is a dangerous place. Same school, same children, same bullies. One feels safe, the other one feel extremely unsafe. So the real question we need to ask is not whether the world has become a dangerous place, but where do we stand as Great Britain, as people, in relation to the world? Because danger is about your position, is about your position in relation to the bullies, is about your position in relation to what is happening around you, who's got your back, who's there to protect you, what powers do you have, what aces do you hold. So to understand whether people's sense of danger is logical or illogical, we need to go a little bit back in time. That's going to be very, very short. So this Iran war is really an extension of the First World War. In the First World War, broadly speaking, Britain and France fought against Germany and the Ottoman Empire, and the United States came to the help and support of Great Britain and France. Britain won the war, but by the end of the war, it was completely exhausted, bankrupt. It transferred most of its assets to the United States to pay for the war. But, and this is a crucial thing, in exchange, the United States of America gave us three extraordinary things, three ace cards. The first was influence over the Middle East. So Britain rewarded its allies in the war against the Ottoman Empire with newly created countries, Jordan, Syria, Iraq, and so on. And by doing this, Britain was able to maintain influence over the Middle East. The second ace card that the United States gave Britain was a place in the United Nations, a special place in the United Nations, was called the League of Nations at the time. And that place meant that Britain was able to create and shape international law. Think about it this way. So Britain creating international law, but Great Britain also decide who break international law, who doesn't break international law. And once Great Britain makes the decision, of course, together with a few other countries, it can decide whether to impose sanction, what sanction to impose, and so on. And you can see that these two tools were very helpful for Great Britain to exert influence and control over the Middle East. So Britain became Mr. International Law effectively. It was placed in charge and of creating those laws. And the third thing that America gave us was the friendship. The most powerful nation on earth offered its unconditional friendship to Great Britain. So you can see that with these three aces, Britain is able now to punch far above its weight. So it has control of the Middle East, there's lots of influence. It can play international law in order to give meaning to this influence. And most fundamentally, it can use international law in order to keep the conflict between Israel and the Arabs alive. And these three aces gave Great Britain the opportunity to punch far above its weight. It has now positions in the Middle East, and it can use its influence over international law and in the United Nations to start wars, to stop wars, to dictate borders, and really to keep this conflict, Israeli-Arab conflict, alive, because it derived its influence through that conflict. And of course, the relationship with the US, the commitment that the US had made to Great Britain meant that in most cases, the United States will follow Great Britain's lead when it comes to decisions in the UN and Security Council. So we all feel very safe here, and sometimes people didn't really understand why Britain has got so much influence over the world stage because we lost our empire, we are nearly bankrupt, we don't have any big army, we hardly have a navy, but still we had very, very strong position. And then almost overnight, we lost it all. The Middle East has been completely reshaped. Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, Britain's influence has been completely removed. The United Nations has been obliterated by Donald Trump. It doesn't really exist anymore as a law creating and a law enforcing organization. And the last thing is the unconditional friendship with the United States. That wasn't taken away from us. We just threw it away. The accumulation of the loss of those three aces meant that Britain now stands pretty much naked. At the same time that we have lost those powers, we are exposed to be a poor country with very little influence over anything that is happening anywhere around us. Now, most people don't really know much about international law or the history of international law, the history of the Middle East, or even the history of our relationship with the United States. But people are quite clever and they have good instincts. So when people say they feel scared and they feel that the world is a dangerous place, more dangerous than it was, say, 6 months ago, they are not being overly dramatic. They are picking up on something real. Perhaps they cannot put a finger on it. Perhaps they don't understand it, but they do feel this lack of protection. They do feel that this great country has been stripped off pretty much all of its protections. So they feel vulnerable and they feel scared. If you feel unsafe, it is because you lost your protection, you lost your gun, you lost your armor, you lost your influence, you lost your friends. But there is some optimism there as well, because as a matter of fact, the world is becoming safer now. The world today is safer than it was 6 months ago, because the biggest danger to the world, which was Iran, nuclear and ballistic missile threat, is pretty much gone. And the US and Israel will protect the people of Great Britain because this island is an asset, and they will not allow this island to fall into the wrong hands.